Let's go! So with Bitcoin continuing to go down and sideways, a lot of people are saying that we are indeed in a bear market. I think the more relevant question to ask is not necessarily if we are in a bear market or not, but how low can we realistically drop from here? So that is what we are going to explore today, guys. If you're holding Bitcoin, this is something you will want to watch. Also, we are of course looking at Bitcoin on shorter time frames here. We're looking at Ethereum and we're talking about crypto in general. So welcome back everybody. My name is Cristiano, bringing you cryptocurrency videos every day, teaching you how to make money in this market. If you are new to this channel, then make sure to subscribe right now, because today we got important stuff to talk about. So first off, let us go to the actually shorter time frames here before we talk about Bitcoin more broadly. And as you know, we did break down from this triangle, and since then we did actually have from the breakdown to the bottom a 13.5% drop. So that's decent. Didn't go all the way down to the measured move here, but as you know, we were talking about we were not going to reach that if we saw a big drop here, because you had big you had big support levels right here. In fact, you can see that we approached the vital $30,000 level right here, but there was just so much buy-in demand so that people were buying this dip actually $1,000 before you actually reached the red line here. So people were starting to buy this at $31,000. And by the bounce here, you can clearly see that, yeah, indeed, this was a very, very strong push. Now, if I zoom in here, you can actually see that we got on the 4-hourly candles rejected a couple of times here. On the bodies of the candles, we got above it. Right now, we're struggling with the orange box between 34,100 and 34,500. So you can see that we got a wick all the way through here, got a big rejection, and big rejection down to 33,714 actually. Now we are struggling with getting above it. So it's a bit, sketchy on lower time frames, just because, well, for one, the good thing is that we have strong support here. So that's the good thing. So if you're ever going to be buying in between these two red lines, of course, that is going to be as we're approaching this red line here. And if you're going to sell, you're going to sell as we're approaching the red line here at $42,000. So, that's the logical thing to do. But in general, here's the situation. If we flip on the moving averages on the 4-hourly time frames, we're still quite a bit far off. So we need to get above $36,000 very clearly here in order to get above the moving averages right here and us flipping more bullish. And same thing with the EMA ribbons. So if I flip on them, you can see that we are still not above them either. In fact, this is acting as resistance. So in other words, on lower time frames, you have to be cautious still, because we are not flipping these moving averages. We are not breaking through these key areas. Instead, we're getting rejected here. So pay attention to that. And also the Lux algo, what is that telling us? Well, on the 4-hourly time frame, it's not telling us that much either. But what we could see, if I go to the Lux oscillator, you can see that you did have a bullish divergence here. So you did have a bullish divergence, and you can see here on the 8th of June, that was the exact bottom. And so this bullish divergence actually played out. So this was cool. So for everyone who were paying attention to the Lux algo oscillator, you actually had this signal right there. But for now, of course, if you ever see us approach $30,000 again, this could be a good buy-in opportunity, because you can see the big bounce here was very big. And as we are getting lower, I think that even 26,400, if we break down here, could be very, very strong. And I do not rule out the possibility of us breaking down from $30,000, wicking down into $26,000, and then having a huge bounce, and then actually on the daily time frame just having a huge wick here, and then closing above $30,000 again. So I am putting my buy orders here. I'm putting some buy orders here at $30,000. Of course, we're playing off of the bounces here, but we are going to also talk about the long-term vision for this cycle for Bitcoin, and we're going to do that right now. Because realistically, if we say that this is actually the top, if we saw the top of this bull market at 64,200, Where does that leave us right now? Well, it leaves us with a correction of 53%. On some exchanges, it's going to be more, on some exchanges, it's going to be less, but approximately 55%. Now, if we go to the previous tops and to the bottoms, from the previous top here, 2017, we had an 85% correction, okay? So if we go to the cycle after that, you had another 85% correction, I should say. And here in very, very early days, you actually saw a 90% correction. Now, here's the thing. In terms of percentage, we have already seen a 55% correction. And this is why I'm saying the more relevant question is not if we are in a bear market, but how much lower can we actually realistically drop? Now, for one, you can also pay attention to that we didn't, if this was the top, you didn't get the blow-off tops. You didn't have a sharp, very, very quick run-up and then immediately down, basically. No, instead what you saw is a rounded bottom. And if this is going to be the top, well, this will be the first time in history that we actually are having this rounded top. And also, we are having, this cycle is different because we have institutions, we have a lot of money flowing into Bitcoin, and institutions, they are not panic selling like retail investors like in previous cycles. This is why this would actually explain why we didn't have, in that case, a blow-off top like this. But realistically, with everything going on in crypto, I cannot see us dropping in total for this cycle, actually dropping more than 70%. If I had to pick a number with a gun to my head, I would say that we are going to, in the bear market or in a sharp correction, not drop more than 70%, barring some fundamental, big thing with a flaw in the Bitcoin code or something like that. Just with the regular market cycle stuff going on, I cannot see us drop more than 70%. So that's the hard number I'm going to pick. And in that case, it means that from this peak, we were going to reach down to $20,000. Now, what you have to consider here is that trying to time the absolute bottom is a fool's game, because you cannot do that. You cannot time the absolute bottom. For everyone who were able to time the absolute bottom, chances are they averaged in to the bottom, or they were just simply lucky. Now, here's the thing. Instead of trying to call the absolute bottom, what I'm going to say is that I'm going to try to get as much upside as possible, considering the low here at $20,000. So, meaning, if we drop another $10,000 down to the absolute low, I'm comfortable buying at these levels. Now, let's say we drop down to $17,000. Maybe we drop to $16,000. Well, it's not a huge difference between, $18,000 and $20,000. This is why I'm saying the upside potential is much more, because the upside potential is Bitcoin going up to $200,000, $300,000, $500,000, or even $1 million. And the downside potential is just another, $10,000, from $30,000 down to $20,000 to have that 70% correction. Now, this is just speculation. It's, guesstimations. It's just my overall feel for the market with everything considered in the Bitcoin space and in the crypto space in general. Now, again, we can drop a bit lower. That's fine. I'm still comfortable buying at these levels. And so I'm not always bullish, but for everyone who's saying that I'm a permeable long term, yes, I am bullish on Bitcoin. But remember, when we were at $64,000, I was saying that, yeah, you should probably think about taking some off the table, especially when it comes to altcoins, because you can have a sharp drop at any moment, and buying during the dips is a good opportunity in general. And so this is what I'm doing. I'm sticking through to that, and this is why you always see me say on my videos that I continue to buy here, because as we're getting lower, we are getting closer to the bottom. And once you actually see that bottom, well, then there's obviously only upside potential left. Once everyone has sold, there's only upside potential left. Once everyone who said that they are never going to sell actually sold, and everyone who really, really did not want to sell but were forced to sell for some reason, once all of those have sold, there's no sellers left. Well, that is when you're going to have the bottom, and that is when you're going to have just upside potential. For me, the hard number is 70% correction. Again, around $20,000, maybe $18,000, maybe $15,000, but I'm comfortable buying all the way down there. Now that you have heard my thoughts about that, let's talk about Ethereum, because Ethereum is actually still outside of this triangle. And yeah, let's go to my support and resistance levels of Ethereum. And here you can see on my support and resistance levels that we are respecting these lines perfectly. You can see that right here we're having a bit of traffic. Got actually 2 small 4-hourly candles resting right here on the orange line, and a ridiculous wick here, a lot of price action. But yeah, definitely we are above the $2,500 level here. Next stop on the upside, $3,000. Next stop on the downside is $2,395. So that's it for Ethereum. I wanted to talk about this bill in El Salvador, but this is huge. And of course, you obviously probably already know about this, but this is absolutely huge, because what they're doing is they're saying that Bitcoin is legal tender in El Salvador now, meaning that every business needs to accept Bitcoin as any other, or as their actually sovereign currency. I think that they're using the US dollar in El Salvador. So now you will have to accept the US dollar and Bitcoin. Also, they are launching a wallet. And this is huge. I mean, this is huge. This is setting a precedent, and everyone who are investing, for those who invest 3 Bitcoin in El Salvador, they are able to get residency there permanently. So if you're holding a lot of Bitcoin, I would still say be careful, because there's a lot of crime from what I understand, talking with friends who are actually from El Salvador. They've been telling me that, yeah, cool, but you know, you probably do not want to go around flashing that you actually have Bitcoin in El Salvador. This is what they told me. But so just be careful if you're planning to actually utilize this and move to El Salvador due to this. But yeah, this is huge. This is setting a precedent for every other country in the world. Thank you so much for watching the video, guys. I will see you in the next one.